Hey guys, what's going on? It's Rick. Hello, hello, hello. This is called Short Bus. It's called Short Bus to Jonah. And yeah, I'm going to give a short bus. I don't get enough I don't get enough feedback to find out whether or not you guys are even understanding anything. Because part of the magic of this is not just seeing it and hearing it, but you got to understand it. If you don't understand it, that's the terrible part. When you can't make that third connection. Remember now, we're trying to make that connection. All right. So, real quick, all of the stories of our Bible have a sequence of events that have to happen in the story. There is no this comes first or that comes first, or every now and then this will come be in between. No, there's a this comes first, this comes next, and this comes next. It's like boom, 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 sometimes a little more. But when it comes down to this thing of the world is the hardest one to get people to understand. And I'm going to try to do this quickly, all right, to help you with your understanding so you can go back and reread it again. But the spiritual side of the Bible is basically something that we actually have to pick up on by our ear, you know. But what I did is I spent a, a good number of hours rewriting that story. Not rewriting like bringing up my own, but I just wrote it all down so that I could draw and create these little circles and do all these things and decipher what its code is. Well, I could hear its code right out on the. I could hear it, but to try to teach it is what I have here behind me. And so, what I want to do is we need to give some kind of identity to each of these four worlds. Aside from what they already are, because we know that they're the four fixed signs of the zodiac, dealing with Taurus and Leo and Scorpio and with Aquarius, right? We know the west, north, south, and east. We have established that for a few years. I've been working on this, and this is the way it is, and that does not change any place in this book between Old Testament and the New Testament. It doesn't waver in any of these other religions either. The conscious side of us. The conscious side of us is where I am. Hello, the conscious side of me. I'm the captain of this ship. I'm the pharaoh. I'm the king. I'm the captain. This is me. I'm involved. This is it. God. God shows up in this place a good number of times. Or the Pharisees. This is like, this is some kind of, like who the boss is. That's our conscious. That's a boss. That's how you can recognize things that fall under the West when it comes down to that. Figure out who that is. That's you. That's this conscious side of you. The 666, you little devils. All right? Or you're part of that 144,000, you angels. Right? But anyhow, that's in the book of Jonah, this is the ship's captain. Right? This is the ship master. The guy is in charge of the boat. That's him. Right? Then we get over here to our emotional sides. Well, the emotion sides, it shows up, says, this is where God comes in and says, I want you to go over there to Nineveh and tell them they're going to be killed. So this is like the message from God. This is a message from God. So it's going to be pulled out as an emotional situation. This is red. We get craft in here, the story about them pulling lots or drawing lots, to find out who the problem is. Right here. Everybody go get to their God. Everyone to their own God, because the boat's rocking. They start tossing everything off. They start tossing everything off the boat so that it doesn't break. They just tossing and tossing. And then what do? They go down into the well of the boat and find, I'll be damned, there's Jonah down there just snoozing away. That's wonderful symbolism. So anyways, the sass. The sea itself. The sea itself is this emotional thing. It's churning now. God has sent breath upon the ocean. So those are the two stages of consciousness, and the boat's rocking, and the people are dropping shit all over the place, and the men of the boat are trying to get to shore, which is to wake up. I want out of this. I want out of this. I'm scared to death. So you get the two stages of consciousness going off that, the second and the third. The water is where you're in. So that's the second stage, all right? It's going to cause the wind to blow, and everything's going to pot from this particular point. And the boat which he is in, is just rocking and rocking, and the men on the boat are saying, oh my God, what are we going to have to do? And then the captain comes to Jonah and says, listen, dude, what are we going to have to do? We don't want to perish. But, so the captain of the boat draws lots, finds out what he's doing. And in the south, he says, well, deliver me up. Because he's down. Remember, he's down low in the boat. He's in the side of the boat asleep, dead asleep, right? And he says, deliver me up, and toss me off into the side, off into the water. And immediately, all went calm. Well, as soon as you stop and go into the water, your skin's blonde. There's no more story about the guys in the boat, right? But the boat is representing our physical side. You and me, the body part. We're the vessel that's being used in this story. And the vessel, you have to toss this dude out. And this is your brother. This is the story of, if you had a brother, if you don't love your brother, if you don't trust in your brother, this is your trouble. He got one. But you'll find that this is where he is. He's the sacrifice. You got to throw him out into the water. Right? That's where he's going. And then he lands in God. This is the fish, the big fish. He's in there. He says the weeds are covering my head, It's in there for 3 days and 3 nights. Are you kidding, you guys? 3 represents this divine intervention. When you get to the 3, of course, this way, it's always that way. It's always that way. He had to die, and in the story, he says, I'd rather be dead than to be alive, But he coughed back up on the shore, so he's brought back alive. So this takes care of Jonah, but now he has to go over and take care of Nineveh. So when he goes and tells Nineveh, but he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to go over there. He says he's got to go and talk to the king, and he's going to give them the message that he's going to be destroyed in 40 days. 40 days, right? He just didn't want to do it. He'd rather, He'd rather sit on the side of the city, go on the outside of the city, and watch it get destroyed. That's what he wanted. Oh, man, he says, oh, Jesus, God says, oh, you have to be angry all the time. So he spares Nineveh. And if you see Nin is 9. We also get the even there, which is what we're looking for. We're looking for God to trample down things, to make things even. It makes it all even. This is the whole idea. If you ask that mountain to move, it will move, And I was looking at that H on the end. Most all of these things, when you have that little H, that's that breath of God. So 9 is a conscious number, which we're looking for. We're looking for a high 9. So that would make it an even 9. and the H. And besides, it's a giant, it's a great city. And he's representing the lower conscious. He says, I'm not going to destroy those people there because they don't know their right hand from their left hand. Remember, nobody in the world is basically knowing, they can't understand what it means to have the power in your right hand. They don't understand how to go and save themselves. You want me to go and, like, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. And that's the whole point of the story, is that God doesn't kill people. The power of God is not meant for destruction at all. You're looking more at the destroyer, and the destroyer is Father on it by himself, unbridled. It's the human conscious on its own, unconnected to God. That is abomination. That is the trouble. But he doesn't want you to necessarily say what's good and bad, because we are told to do this. We are taught to be this way first. We have to do this first before we can do any of this. Otherwise, this whole thing is hidden from you, and you can't see. So in the Revelations, we get this story about this third beast, and when they poured out the wrath on the third beast, that a third of the ships were destroyed. That takes away your ability to communicate with God when those ships are destroyed. But just showing you how most of this works, of course, we knew that Jonah represents our right side of the brain, the dove. And Nineveh, this is the way the story goes, Nineveh is the next door neighbor, the bad neighbor. And it was destroyed in 40 days and 40 nights. And while he was waiting for it to happen, that God passed over them. This would be like in the 3rd chapter. Because the king took the word of the Lord, which Jonah gave him, in the 3rd chapter, this is the intervention. This is what they asked for. This is what God woke him up to do in the first place, was to say, tell them that you're going to be destroyed in 40 days, So they prepared. And the king made a proclamation that no one eat or drink a thing. So a fast was declared. That means to stop feeding the lower mind, to stop feeding the body. Yeah, to stop feeding the body. But that's not what they're talking about here. They're asking you to go inside. I've read some scriptures here where you're supposed to fast in private. How do you not eat in private? That's a good question. How, especially when you want to be seen that you did this, But God says you don't have to be seen. Go and do it yourself. Go into your own closet and shut the door. That's beautiful. So we know that in the stories, all these things, these two are always like this. This would be Abram, Sarai. And of course, this would be Sarai. That was when she was the bitch, right? Because that's what her name means. Antagonistic bitch is what it is. Then, after they get that breath, the H, as soon as they get the breath of God in them, right? Now we got Abraham, and we've got Sarah. She's turned into a princess just by adding the H to her name. Beautiful. We have David and Solomon. Solomon, that is David's brother. Or son. I think it's his son, David's son. We get Joseph and Mary. We get Moses and Aaron. Do you see how it's all working? It's just really, really, really cool. It's just the coolest stuff. Now, Moses has Aaron. Moses becomes this third guy, But Moses, remember when Moses runs into the priest of Midian, right? That had the 7 daughters. I know it's a coincidence, but he offers up the oldest one, which her name is Zipporah, which means bird. Has like a little bird noise. Is her name, you know? Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So there's a sequence of events that has to happen. We have to check out this idea. Remember the business with the guys, and then I'll go. I think I got to get something done today. I know I say that all the time. I got something done yesterday. I went up. I was up the Keys. Went up the Keys and painted a mural. All right. So, boom, 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 boom. Real fast. Only while I have it is the idea, because all these work together. All right. Cinderella fits into this state, right? The 4 guys, the four musicians. Remember them? Do you remember? Do you guys? Do I ever do that one? Where the way it would be is basically the symbolism behind us is that we're some kind of a donkey, something that carries a burden. And so that could be a camel, it could be a goat or something like that. But most of the time, it's a donkey. So in the story, we had the donkey leading off the show, and it was the boss of the whole group. And as he went down his road, right, they picked up a dog by the side of the road. That dog, is pretty cool. That dog is our emotional side. So, and they're all wailing. All of these guys have their story. They're all about to be killed. Run away with us to the big city. And then in the middle of the road, they come up against the kitty cat. And it's wailing and yelling, screaming and hollering, and it's a one-eyed cat. It's pretty cool. Come join us. Join us. Bring that beautiful voice of yours together with ours. And we're going to make it real big. They go a little further down the road and they run into a rooster sitting up high, just crowing away, telling that he's going to be the main course tomorrow, and there's going to be beautiful weather. And they said, oh my God, well, won't you come follow us to the big city? And then they go for a long, long, long walk. All right. So in reality, what it is now they're on their long walk. All of them are in this place where they're in this long walk to find this little box, a little hut in the middle of the wilderness. And it's full of goodies and all kinds of stuff, because they went and checked it out, looked through the window and saw a bunch of robbers in there. And they were eating and having a great old time. Well, you see, the robbers is what inhabits the spiritual side of us, religion. That's what's occupying this spot, or nothing, which is actually, it's desolate. So, the robbers can come in. It's the idea there's nothing. So what they want to do is they want all that stuff. So they get to the window, which is this place right here. This would be your 6th chakra, that little line before over to the other world. They got on this one, put his feet on the ledge of the window. This one scurried up his back, sat on his shoulders. The kitty cat then scurried up that dog's back and got on his shoulder. And the little bird flew down and got on the back of the kitty cat. And with one noise, we're going to use the word om, just to keep it all spiritual. Who knows what it really was? It's just a story. But they were all acting in one accord. This is when we're all even, when we work it, and they fell right in through there and scared those guys out. Boom! Just like that. Well, we still have the number 8, which is about a control number. And so later on that night, those guys, the robbers, thought they'd come back again. They're going to come back and take over what was back there. And one of them, they sent a guy in, sneak in, and he ran into the kitchen. That's where the cat was. And his eye was glowing like a little ember, and he tried to light a match by it. And as he tried to light his match, the cat scratched him, right? And scared him. And he started running for the back door, and where the dog was laying, and the dog got up and stabbed him. Well, the dog bark scared him. And then he ran out into the ground outside of the house. And there was that damn donkey. And the donkey scared the hell out of him. And then he heard something. He hollered from the roof above. He says, send that devil up here. I'll take care of him. So when he got back to his guys, he actually told these stories. He said there was a witch in the kitchen. There was a guy behind the door that stabbed me in the leg. And there was some kind of a monster in the front yard that clubbed him. And then the devil was yelling at him from the rooftop. So it's just a beautiful story, but it's still going in those fours. Everything is in these fours, right? And even Cinderella. And Cinderella is this, she represents this beautiful side over here. The whole story starts off with her bringing to draw water for a prince, for the prince and his helper, all right, or his maid, or what would that be? His servant. Just like us. And our brother, when we're in meditation, she comes and she says, "Oh, they come to the water, they come to the well, they come to draw water for the prince, which you're the prince, and your servant." It's beautiful. All these stories, they really are talking about joining up with God. And anyways. I'm helping you get your God on, you guys, So I'm hoping this helps you with the understanding part of this, all right? When it comes down to recognizing what each one of those actually means, right? And remember that over 90% of this world out here comes into this world without this going on. That's a lot of people. And another bunch of people think that they got it going on. And I'm told in all the different scriptures of the different religious realms that is the dangerous mind, is a mind that thinks that it's on God's side. So I'm on God's side. I know it seems kind of dangerous, but this is how you know that you're on God's side, because you can do some crazy shit and you never ever been able to do that before. That should be your first sign. Your second sign is that I get sick now. I can't go into God's house without feeling like I'm going in and work for the devil. I really, I just know it. But that's the first thing you got to get rid of, And but that it took it. It's not going to make you sick. You've been saved. So, this is Jonah for Dummies. All right? But 101. This is, what is it we're doing? We're teaching a spiritual class on the spiritual side of our Bible. The part that you can't see, but you very well can understand how it's working now. All right? I'll do this again. I love you guys. See you.